My name is Tiffany Stark. I have attended Eastside Baptist Church since I was a little girl, probably about 7 years old, when my family moved here to Marietta. My story really starts at a young age where I grew up in a godly home with wonderful Christian parents who taught us regularly about God's love for us, taught us the Bible, did daily devotions together. When I was 5 years old and my older brother was 7, he was ready and started talking with my mom about what it means to be saved and how to accept Jesus' gift of salvation. So he prayed with my mom there when he was 7 years old, and I, being a 5-year-old, loving my older brother and just always wanting to do what he did, I also prayed that prayer that day, the sinner's prayer. But to be honest, I don't remember that day. I've been told, my mom's told me about that story many times, but I don't remember it myself. So a few years later, at 12 years old, sitting near the front row of Eastside Baptist Church in a pew on the left-hand side, I can picture exactly where I was that morning. During the service, the Spirit just impressed upon me that I wanted to have a definitive moment where I knew that I understood my need for salvation, and I knew that I was surrendering my life to the Lord. So sitting there in that pew at 12 years old, I prayed and received Christ as my Savior and said, Lord, I may have done this before, but I sure don't remember. And so I want to surrender my life to you. I accept your gift of salvation and your death on the cross as the payment for my sins. But kind of the next key moment that I think back to in my journey is the summer after my freshman year of college. I was on a summer project in Split, Croatia with Campus Crusade for Christ. We were there to minister to college students and share the good news with them. But one of the best things about that trip is that we were taught and emphasized to really take a Sabbath. So every Sunday, we would find ways to get alone, to be still, to rest. And I remember one Sunday going out to a cliff that kind of overlooked the Adriatic Sea. It was a beautiful scene there on a beautiful Sunday morning. And I was reading in Matthew chapter 5 that morning. And I got to the verses 21 and 22 where it says, "You have heard it said that you shall not commit murder." And I had never committed murder. I thought that was key, obviously. But as I kept reading, it said, "But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. And whoever says to his brother, 'You good for nothing,' shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whoever says, 'You fool,' shall be guilty enough to go to the fiery hell." So sitting there reading those verses, it rocked my world because the bar for righteousness just went through the roof. I always knew I was a sinner. I always knew I needed a Savior. But in that moment, for the first time in my life, I was overwhelmed by my sin. And therefore, for the first time in my life, I was overwhelmed by my salvation. The Lord has used that moment to repeatedly remind me of His great love for us. I have tears in my Bible from reading that morning because of how the Lord just caused me to surrender to Him and to just realize how great His love was for me. One other big thing that the Lord has taught me as I've grown, I kind of imagined that I would have been married and had a family, by my late 20s, early 30s. And here I am approaching 40, and that's still not the case. But one way the Lord has really ministered in my life, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and the fiery furnace. As you read that story in Daniel, it's interesting because the king asked them to bow down and they refuse. And when they're getting ready to go into the furnace, they say, "We believe that God will save us, but if not, we still will not bow down." Those 3 words have been huge in my journey, but if not. Whether it's praying for a future spouse, whether it's praying for a career goal, whether it's praying for the end of coronavirus, is confidence that, but if not, I'm still gonna serve the Lord my God, and He still has our future in His hands, and He is sovereign. And so it's with delight and joy that I can live each day knowing that He is in control. My name is Tiffany Stark, and this is my story.